Hi. I haven't been on for a while. I have went into the hospital for 6 months, and it's been a long 2 years for me. And I've really come through with some breakthroughs and feel a lot better about myself. I am different today than I was 2 years ago, and I have needed to worry about my health a couple years ago. So, um, when I started this talk channel, I was in my wilderness period. I wasn't really connecting with people the same way I had been before. I noticed that I had changed a lot in my 8 years of recovery, and I needed to reassess my life. And my doctors weren't sure about progress and what to do and what we were going to do. But my liver was bad and life threatening. So it turned out that the medications were affecting my liver, and my doctors prescribed me to go off my medications. And that brought up a lot of old trauma and things that I blocked out of my mind. And so I had to go through that at the same time that all this was happening. And I was going through a liver cleanse and some other things. I go to a natural doctor, so he gives me natural remedies. And then I was coming up to Christmas 2020, feeling really like I had a lot of energy. I was motivated for my life. I was looking into buying a house, and I just had to stop and reassess really what was going on with me. So I took a drive one night and ended up in Iowa. I was just driving wherever, and I got pulled over, and they brought me to the hospital there and had me on a lot of medications that I stopped right after I got done out of the hospital in March of 2020. And by that July, I was back into a facility, and because I was starting to get extreme paranoia about things, just like it could have been anything, and I would have been paranoid about it. I didn't trust people. I felt like I was in enemy territory. And this was right when COVID started. And so normally what I do for my mental health is go see my friends, and COVID kind of put a crack on that. And so I was alone suffering with that the until I was able to get help finally. Then that led to another series of hospitalizations, and I wanted them to put me on the stuff that was working for me at one time. My liver did heal, and it's still good today, but I wanted them to put me on the stuff that was working for me, and it wasn't Jarvis by the court, so they had to, they used what they had, and I went through a whole year and about a year of hospitalizations on the wrong medications. So I got out, and my doctor, the one that I see, she said, "You got to get back on this because you're druggy, you don't have energy for every day, you don't feel good, you're tired all the time." And so that switch came a little bit too late for me. And at that time, when she switched it, I wasn't doing very well. And so I didn't keep up with the changes. And I have a social worker right now, and she recommended going to the crisis center for a couple weeks to stabilize myself, but I didn't feel like that would be enough, so I went back into the hospital. And I've been there for the last 6 months. And I have changed incredibly. It's kind of like, 2 years ago, I thought my future is beckoning me forward, and I knew that progress was going to come. I didn't know the price I was going to pay, but I did know progress was going to come, and it did. Finally, in the last month, I have my health as a priority, and I feel good, and I am really invested in my life, and I've got social supports. I'm getting along with everyone. I feel like I created this life out of a mess. My upbringing was very traumatic, and it didn't stop when I went to college. I had another really traumatic experience that brought on my mental health symptoms, and I'm thankful today that I can put that all behind me. I really do believe that this is my fresh start. And a couple years ago, when we were looking at this with my doctors, we didn't know really the extent of my illness. I had done a lot of healing as far as to get on top of the really erratic behavior and the things that I couldn't function with, even on medications. And I've done very well at that, but there's still trauma imprinted in my brain. And when you experience trauma, or you remember trauma, it's just like it's happening right then at that moment. It's not like your brain doesn't compute it as a memory, it computes it as like, I'm in a dangerous situation. So when I'm not on my medications, I think I'm in a dangerous situation, and I'm not. And I can't decipher that. So the responsibility is up to me to take care of myself and to set boundaries and to also have great relationships and do my music and do the Patreon and do Lavelle and do all the things that I care about. But priority one is my health. And I'm starting to implement my work more into my life slowly. But like right now, I think I have to work 8 times as hard in Lavelle to hit my goal. And I've started at one time more time. So I'm slowly going to catch the fire of my productivity, and hopefully I want to get off Social Security someday, which is what pays for my bills. And my goal is to get off it. I took it because I was in a terrible situation, and I needed to take care of me. And I have. So I'm really hoping that, my business ventures will start to pay off. My second edition of my book comes out any day now on Amazon. And I'm going to write a new album next year. And I take the Lavelle supplements every day, and it feels great for me. I like putting nutrition in my body. I think that's what it takes to stay healthy, is to be getting good nutrients, and like not just good nutrients, like the top premium quality additives that can make me feel better. And that's what it does. It makes me feel better. And the medications I'm on are very dangerous. We just lost someone at the clubhouse last week. I was going to be working with her when I got back home, and she's dead now. And it's really sad because, it's really important that I have my health monitored, and that I check on any problems that I have and get ahead of them before it happens. But conveniently enough, 8 years ago, my liver doctor, before I started seeing the specialist, he said, there's no way you're going to live 10 more years. And right now my liver's healthy. And I remember back when I got Social Security, the nurses that were helping me with it said, you will never work again. And I do work. My Patreon's work, my Lavelle's work, and I believe that someday it's going to pay off and I will be able to get off Social Security. I'd like to have a family and a husband and live a good life. I knew when I had my mental breakdown when I was about 20 years old, I knew that it was going to take a really long time to heal. And it's going to take a long time to create the life I want to live. But my last 23 years have been about healing and learning about health and learning about coping, going to therapy, taking care of myself. And I've done all that, and I feel like I crossed a finish line, because what those problems that I had before were causing me was increased hospitalizations. Many times I've been hospitalized. I don't know how many times exactly, but from 2008 to 2012, I was in the hospital every year. And it comes down to this, you got to grab life by the horns and take control, because or else it's going to wash you over, and you can make up all the excuses you want then about how bad your life is, but it's not going to fix it, because you have the key to living the life you want to live. And that's really where I'm at right now, is I know I'm responsible for this. If I see something, if I notice something is off with me, it's my responsibility to reach out and to get that attended to, so I don't have another relapse. And I feel like the hospitalizations are passing now, and I don't think I'll go back to them, because I'm taking care of myself. I've got 4 things to maintain my health, and that's good nutrition, which I also get from Lavelle, sleeping well, which actually I take the rest from Lavelle, because I do have problems getting into sleep at night sometimes, and taking my medications, which I do morning, evening, and night, and using good self-care. So I have to take care of myself. The way I lived when I was in college could not happen to me today. I cannot handle that level of intensity. I am at a healthy place. When I was in college, I wasn't. And so I ran myself out until I had a breakdown, and something happened too before that caused it to become a huge problem for me, and I've been recovering ever since. But this happened in my childhood too. I was just barely hanging on by a string, and I don't feel like I am anymore. I feel like I really have a good life ahead of me, and that I can do what's necessary to keep myself well, and I've got a lot of support, and it's looking good. It's looking good now. So on a final note, I think it's important that we let go. I've learned this in the recovery community, serenity, not being able to control everything. There are so many things that I can do for myself, but then if I look beyond that, like Ukraine, Russia, COVID, I can't do anything about those things. Unless I was a lawmaker or whatever, and then it would be a totally different situation. But for now, I have a lot that I can be in control of. And this really hit home, because at the last facility I was at, we went through some exercises on things we can control and things we can't control. And it opened my eyes, because for a long time when I was hospitalized, I felt like I didn't have any control in it, but I was fascinating on the things that I didn't have control over, rather than looking at, I do still have a lot of options. I can learn what I need to learn right now so this doesn't happen again. I can talk to the nurses. I can do good things for myself. I can talk to people on the phone. But that didn't occur to me, because I didn't have this revelation that I've had recently. And I think that coping skills are one of our best measures in making sure that we keep that reference of serenity and letting go of the things that you can't control, because this is a stressful world. The world is dynamic, the world is big, the world is confusing. There's so much going on all at one time, but we have the key to create our future. And we are responsible for that. No one else, no matter how much it interferes with your life, we as the bearers of our own lives are responsible for determining the outcome of our life. And that's one of my reminders for today. And it's been a long ride, but I'm glad to be back. I'm hoping to do a talk every week from now on. So thank you so much for subscribing, and thanks for listening. See you next time.